Arizona State Treasurer Dean Martin recently implemented a website that allows Arizonans to see how state money is being spent. The site, azcheckbook.com, was 2 years in the making. Here to talk about the site and other issues is State Treasurer Dean Martin. Good to have you back in the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let me make sure I got that right there. That's azcheckbook.com.
That's correct.
Okay, why this website? Why now?
Well, it's something I said I was going to do back in my inaugural speech, putting all the state government spending online. I mean, literally every dime the state collects, every dime the state spends has to have a code attached to it telling basically the accounting system how it got here and where it's going. And so I took all of that information and said, let's put this online so the public can see exactly what the government's doing with their money.
2 years in the making. Why did it take so long?
We didn't have a budget for this. There was no appropriation. This wasn't something we had finances or staff to do. So it was myself, my head of IT, and a database programmer, just when we could catch spare moments, working on putting this together.
What kind of cost are we looking at here?
If you were to sit down and do this, it took about 4 to 5 weeks of staff time, of one person sitting down in front of a computer, maybe $13,000 total. But you know, we didn't cost us any more. This was just spare moments during the day.
And in terms of maintaining this, keeping this going, what are we looking at here?
Just a few minutes to upload the data each month for the spending and revenues, and then an operating balance each day. So operating, going forward, it's only the hosting cost, which is about $90 a month.
Interesting. When you go to the site, there are interesting things there. There's no doubt. Is something like this, though, necessary?
I think so, because I mean, right now the public is being asked to raise their taxes. They're being asked to look at cuts, and what exactly is going on? Where is their money being spent? Who's spending the most on overtime? Who's spending it on airfare? All these questions get asked, and it's very difficult to get an answer. And so I thought, transparency is the best disinfectant. Sunshine, scatters the cockroaches, so to speak. And to put all this online gives people a lot of power over their government.
The public does have the ability now to see this, but does the public have the resources to put all this information into context? You can look at a graph and it can go all over the place, and you can say, hey, that was good and this is bad, those sorts of things, but can you put it into context and know what's really going on?
Well, and that's the reason why we did this, is I didn't want editorial content on the site. This is just the data. These are just the facts, and let the various agencies and individuals provide the context, because they know what they were spending on. I don't know why they were spending these dollars, but what we're seeing is it's a good policing tool, because you get people who work with state government, maybe an employee who's going through the saying, wait a second, I'm being asked to do this, but they're spending how much on that? And so it's a launching pad for questions, and good government comes from people asking questions, but they can't ask them if they don't know anything. They don't have a basis for questions.
And I think most would agree with that, but my question would be, yes, ask the questions, but where can they get the answers? If they see a particular graph, what's going on there? Is there any way to explain it?
Yeah, we have a link on the site to the complete directory of state agencies, so you can get directly to the agency that is responsible for that spending or revenue and ask the question from them directly. We just provide the information. We cannot provide the backup. Only the agencies can do that.
Now, how far back does this information go?
Unfortunately, only back to fiscal year 09. That's when we started collecting the data. We went to the General Accounting Office to ask for historical data for previous years, and they said it would cost $800 a month. That's about $10,000 a year to provide it, and we don't have a budget for that, so we're stuck with just 09 forward.
As time goes forward, will there be abilities and again a way to put into context trends that might be developing?
Absolutely. That's why I would like more data going back, is so you can see, is this what we've always been spending? Are they spending more? Are they spending less? You can do a year over year for 1 year right now, but more than that you don't have. So that's why historical data, we'd like either the governor to waive the fee or to get an appropriation from the legislature so we can have that additional data. Plus, we're working on more charts and graphs and comparative things. This is basically a public beta right now. We're going to be doing more down the road as we have time.
Senate bill making the rounds right now wants local governments to do what sounds like the same kind of a thing, although maybe with a little more intricacy here. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I have not, we're not part of that legislation, but yeah, they're looking for local governments to provide an extra level of transparency, and I think it's a good thing. Transparency doesn't hurt anybody. It may prompt a lot of questions, but that's okay. I mean, that's what we should be doing, is answering questions of why we're doing certain things.
You have come out now with an idea to reform the budget process and to restructure debt. Again, why this plan? Why now?
Well, the state's in crisis. We're more than $500 billion in debt right now. They're having a hard time making ends meet. The state needs to get through this crisis, but I have a philosophy of do no harm. The problem with the tax increase is people are hurting right now. There's no guarantee